Ba-ba. Hey guys, Lindsay Knapp here with all things real estate in Southeast Wisconsin. We're going to have some real talk with a realtor about the bump clause. All right, let's talk about the bump clause. You may have heard this term before, you may not. Let's just educate and empower you so that you know what you have available in your corner as a buyer, as a seller, as a bumper, as a bumpy. Here we go. So in the context of real estate offer to purchase contract, a bump clause is typically used in situations where there is a contingent offer. The clause itself is designed to allow the seller to continue marketing the property and accept backup offers even while there's a pending offer with contingencies. What does that mean? How does it work? Okay, when a buyer makes an offer on a property that is contingent on certain conditions, most often times than not, it's the sale of their current house. Okay, so financial approval or the sale of their current home, these are reasons that you might find someone using a bump clause. So the bump clause gives the seller the ability to bump the first offer if a better offer comes in. For example, if you make an offer contingent upon selling your home, the seller may accept your offer, but include a bump clause, allowing them to accept a better offer if one comes in, provided that you don't remove your contingency within a certain period of time. If that happens, if they get a better offer, you would be given a certain amount of time, typically 24 to 48 hours, to remove the contingency, go sell your home, or match the terms of the better offer. So if you don't, the seller can proceed with the better offer and you lose the position in the deal. So when should you even use a bump clause? It sounds like there's risk associated with it. There is. So as a buyer, you might want to use a bump clause in these situations, okay? Situation number one, your offer is contingent on you selling your property. So you really want a house, but you know that all of your cash and all of your funds are tied up in your current house. So you're going to have to sell that to get the funds to buy this new house. So if you're in a situation where your ability to buy a new home depends on selling your current home, which is it's very common as a situation in a seller's market, you may want to use a bump clause to protect your interests. The seller will likely entertain other offers, but they will give you the opportunity to match or remove your contingencies if a better offer comes along. So it's basically just like being the first in line and having certain preferences given to you, but it frees up the seller. It gives them a little bit of liberty. They're not locked into what you're locked into. They're not strapped to what you're strapped to. So let's continue. We'll talk about a couple other ways that you should be using a bump clause as a buyer. You can use a bump clause in a competitive market. So if you find that you're in a competitive market where there's multiple interested buyers and you need to present a competitive offer while still having the flexibility to back out if certain conditions aren't met, like selling your home, a bump clause can be a useful tool. The other thing it can do is it can provide some level of security. So as a buyer, the bump clause can give you some time to finalize the sale of your property, work out any contingencies, knowing that you've got this brief window to act if the seller receives a more attractive offer. You can also use a bump clause when you want to secure the property without immediately competing. Okay, so what does that mean? It means if it's a way of securing the property without committing fully until you've met all your contingencies. It gives you some leeway to back out or adjust if necessary, but it still gives you the first right to refusal. So here are some things to consider as a buyer. The risks are time sensitivity for sure. You need to weigh in that if the seller receives a better offer, you have to act very quickly to remove your contingency, that home sale contingency, or to match the other terms. You may need to make some quick decisions. So this is the stressful part. The other thing to consider is there's a risk, always a risk of losing the deal. So if you don't move fast enough, you could lose the property to another buyer who made a stronger offer or didn't have the same contingencies. And then the last bit is market conditions. Okay, so in a seller's market where the demand is very high, but inventory is low, that's what I mean by seller's market, using a bump clause can be more common, but it's a way of giving you a chance to secure a home while working out the contingencies over here on the side. So we have an accepted offer. We know we have 30 days till close. Now I have all this time to go and sell my house. Well, granted that the seller doesn't get a better offer in that time. So in a buyer's market, sellers might be less likely to accept an offer with a bump clause. So that's just something to know. So in conclusion, the bumpity bump of it all is that a bump clause in real estate, in the offer to purchase, attracts and allows you to move forward with a contingent offer. You can move forward with it, giving you the time to resolve those contingencies, like selling your home, while still allowing the seller to entertain backup offers. As a buyer, it is a useful tool in a competitive market, but it does come with some risk and it does require careful timing.